Until midnight, this is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
Yes, time to talk about matters technical with Mr. Ben Aylett from Ben Aylett. By the way, I've always said this. Do not forget, 1L, 2 T's in Aylett, benaylett.com.
That's right.
That's where you'll find all the information. Tonight, wearing his Hawaiian shirt.
Yes.
And also featuring a under T-shirt, because, of course, a little bit cooler, a little bit more inclement weather.
Yep.
Featuring a combi.
A combi.
We are so going to have the Easy Wireless combi.
I'm so excited.
Oh, mate, it is.
I haven't seen
and
it
I
yet,
haven't
though.
decided whether it's going to have the red with the Hawaiian effects or blue with the Hawaiian effects. We're having that debate at the moment.
Oh, well, we'd probably have to talk to someone in the audience who knows about graphic design, what's going to work the most. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy to go for a bit of a sunset motif.
Oh, yeah, it's got to have the Hawaiian thing.
Of course, of course. I mean, that's not too hard. That's
Jeez, I
pretty
don't
easy
know
to fold
about
in.
that. I'm not too sure about that.
All right.
And as Demuts were wont to say, most people would know who Demuts were. They had this song called "What's Up." That's what I'm asking you.
What is up? Well,
yeah, what's up?
Indeed, what is up? Well, I've stumbled across an app which I think is absolutely mind-blowing.
Ooh.
It's just
You're a hard man to impress, so I'm already impressed.
Well, yeah, when it comes to phone apps, I mean, there's just so many phone apps. We've actually seen a drop in growth in the number of phone apps that are being sent out to smartphones. So people are getting a little bit weary about smartphone apps. And this one I've seen, well, it's taking a technology that we already understand and we already know and we've already been playing with.
Yep.
But it puts a really cool twist on it. And I'm not talking about face swapping or anything like fun. This is actually a good app for the community good. It is absolutely amazing. And it is called Be My Eyes.
Be My Eyes.
Be My Eyes. Now, those of you that are watching at home on the YouTube stream, which is tiny.cc/Tech Tonight, and also on Facebook, you will be seeing vision coming up on this. But the way it works is that you have people who are vision impaired and they're having trouble seeing things. And they might need just a few seconds of being able to see, inverted commas, what's going on around them, or read a label, or pick a colour. Just simple things, stuff that takes seconds to do. And then there's a whole bunch of volunteers who are willing to volunteer a little bit of their time, take a look at a picture or a live video, and then just say, oh yeah, the red one's on the right, or that milk is out of date, or I'd go down the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. It's just simple directions. What should I do? This is what you do, and we're done. Be My Eyes has been around since 2015.
Yep.
They've just done the Android app as well, just in the last couple of years, and it is really, really simple. It's just matching up people who are looking for a little bit of help with seeing something, and a whole bunch of volunteers who are willing to donate a bit of their time to get that job done. I signed up right away.
Okay.
And it's really,
and
really simple.
you remain impressed?
I only signed up today because I discovered it today.
Yep.
And I'm eagerly awaiting the first person for me to help.
Okay.
It is just such a cool idea. Now, currently there's about, I think there's 80,000 people who are vision impaired using the service, and over 1.2 million volunteers in over 150 countries, speaking more than 180 languages, using Be My Eyes to help people out.
At the risk of being cynical, some may describe cynical, what do you see potentially as being the downside to this if somebody decides to misuse it?
Okay, the immediate misuse thing that comes to mind is that if somebody was to sign up as a volunteer, and if they were a total jerk and said, oh yeah, that yogurt's good to eat and it's growing mold.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
And if you're that sort of person, I'm sorry, there's just no helping you. If you're going to do that to a person, then man, you just forget it. Just hand in your human card at the door and just be on your way.
Yeah.
Just get
fair
on
enough
here.
too.
Yeah. And I'm sure that if that was to happen, then I'm sure the vision impaired person who was done over by something as despicable as that,
it's pretty despicable that you would do that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. They'd be reporting it, and I'm very sure there is a reporting mechanism there. And look, if any harm's done, I can guarantee you that this would be an international case of harm, which would bring some really, really heavy penalties. So if you're tempted, don't. Just go and, just go and find a sibling and pick on them.
Yeah,
all right?
That's all right. Until the sibling gets a bit too big and pays you back with interest, which is actually kind of cool, really.
Yes.
Hey, something else that you posted on benaylett.com, and I thought, I'm just going to read the first line. I'm going to leave the rest to you. So So about that Telstra outage last month, ...
Yes.
Here comes the first line. It could have been your fault.
That's right.
All right, son. How so?
Okie dokie. Cybersecurity rears its head yet again, and it teaches us a very hard, and in this case, it could have been a very harmful lesson.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to try and explain it. So we've got Telstra. They are the big guys. They hold most of the lines. They do most of the services. And then they take their services and they then resell it to people who are going to resell it to other people. So in this case, they were a wholesaler to a business called Vocus.
Yep.
Vocus Communications then had a customer who had a business class, like a PABX system.
Yep.
Okay. So lots and lots of lines. It's got a computer controlling it. And for whatever reason, the security on that computer was lacking. Now, when that happens...
Now, before we go any further, I've got to jump in here. Surely people like Telstra, Optus, other people who have these sort of systems connected to their networks, they would obviously know that people are going to have lax security. If they don't, something would tell me that they really don't understand their customers that well.
Well, there is... This really does not fall into Telstra's area of responsibility, right? So they as a wholesaler have sold a service onto a retailer who is then has then sold it on to a customer, and either the installer or Vocus themselves or whoever supplied the system have not done their job, or something's been missed, and bad guys have been able to get in. Now, the actual attack, what actually happened was bad guys got in, and then they got into what was known as like call fraud. So they'd make fake phone calls to other systems, and then they'd use that compromised computer controlling the phone system to just spray out all these calls.
But how are these systems allowed to be connected to the network? I mean, at some point, there should be requirements to say you can't connect a system like that to the network. If you don't have testable and verifiable security, the system won't work on the network. Now, to borrow the line from the $6 million man, which was also 1970s, we have the technology. We can do it. Why aren't we doing it?
Now, that is a really good question. I'm not too sure why it's not being done or what's slipped through, but Vocus and Telstra have both come back and said, we've done the investigation. We know it's gone wrong and we're fixing it. But, that's... And
there's no people within those two organisations that would have known this is liable to happen.
No, well, look, you don't know. So it's like, let's say...
Mate, I guarantee you, if you'd looked at this system that they're operating, you would have known this was liable to happen. You would have been telling them they need the security, and if they don't have the security, the system would be vulnerable.
Without having a really good look. And this is talking hours and hours and hours of investigation and surveillance and just looking at the system, then I might be able to spot it. It is not easy. And when people stuff up, sometimes it's simple. Sometimes it's a vulnerability in the hardware, sometimes a vulnerability in the software. You have to go back and you have to check the patch levels of every component.
There should be a minimum requirement, shouldn't there?
And I'm sure there is.
Obviously, it wasn't good enough.
We're on the lookout for Perth Live's local legend.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to
First available helper.
That's where you come in.
establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app,
Prepped image.
and we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something,
On 882 6PR, this is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley.
We're joined by Ben Aylett, Talking Technology. Of course, benaylett.com is the website.
Yep.
If you'd like to find out more or get in contact with Ben. Meantime, if you'd
Yes.
like to have a chat with Ben, 922 11 882 is our number. G'day, Des.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Good, Ben's
Ben,
listening.
how are you
Go for it.
tonight, mate?
I'm very well, Des.
Hey,
How are you?
listen. Oh, yeah, good, mate. Not good. I'm really well, put it that way. I
don't.
won't lie. Mate, I'm vision impaired,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
And that system or app that you were saying about sounds absolutely brilliant,
It does.
right? It really does, because there's a lot of people out there that can use all the help they can get.
Yep.
And sort of just another thing for the armory sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
On my phone, I have a app called Seeing AI. Now, I don't know if you've ever come across it.
It does sound familiar, Seeing AI.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe it?
I believe it's done by Microsoft. I may be wrong there, but what it is, like, it's a reader. I can get there and it'll come in, like, say I've got a page that I need to read,
Mm-hmm.
and it tells me when it's correctly centered on the page and got the
Yep.
full page, and it'll read to me and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It will also read barcodes
Yep.
on stuff.
Mhm.
So that can give me the date, like say I'm out doing a bit of shopping
Yep.
and it's milk or something like that. I just scan the barcode and it tells me the dates on the barcode.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. It will also turn around. You can get facial recognition on it.
Ooh.
If you take 3 photos of one person
Mm-hmm.
and put a name to it,
Yep.
and then say there's a crowd there and you take a photo of the crowd, and that person's in that crowd,
Yeah.
it will say, yes, so-and-so is there, or anybody that's got the on facial recognition, it will say who's amongst that crowd.
Wow. Oh, that's better than I can do. That's awesome.
Yeah. It'll tell me what money I've got, like I can just scan me notes or the change I have, and it'll tell me what change.
Fantastic.
I can get there and look at point the camera to somebody
Yeah.
and take a photo of them, and it'll say, right, it's a 25, roughly, say approximately 25-year-old female with blonde hair,
Nice. Yeah.
or a 46-year-old male that's bald, things like that.
That's brilliant.
I can take a photo of, like, if I'm in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and I just scanned around, it'll take a photo and say, right, there's table, chairs, and all that sort of thing in there.
Oh, good one. No,
That's
That's,
a real-
really cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that is Microsoft AI. So that is Seeing AI. It is by Microsoft Labs, and it is available in the App Store right now.
Des, thank you so much for that. That's a very interesting one, that.
That is awesome.
G'day, Willie.
Yes, hi. Listen, I got quite a few people in my house who use the internet, and even though it's unlimited data, which is not really unlimited data, as you know.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of the month, when everything is good, some go on there and they download probably 24/7. After a few days, everything slows down and everybody complains it's too slow and they can't get on. Is there a way that they can actually go in there and see who is using the most data, who is using most of the stuff?
That's a really good question, that.
Yeah, managing bandwidth and sharing it out equally amongst people, that is a challenge. And look, believe me, I come up against it at my own home now and then. Because
what about if you force people to log in using their own name and their own individual password?
Yep.
Can you then sub-allocate the data? Could you say, let's say, for example, there's three of us in the house.
Yep.
Right? We got Willie, we got Ben, and we got Chris.
Yep.
And in this particular instance, we might say, well, okay, Ben's running his business. He's going to need the lion's share of the data.
Yep.
So could you do it so each of us log on with our own password? Ben has 60% of the data. Willie has 20% of the data. And Chris has 20% of the data allocation.
Yeah. Look, it does make sense that it should be able to be done pretty easily. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything yet that will screw down access to that level. But I am actually in the middle of testing and reviewing some products from ASUS, these nice big honking routers, and they have got a feature set as long as my arm, and I'm sure there is going to be some sort of allowance allocation or some sort of tool where we can manage that sort of stuff. So I will be taking a look. And look, watch this space, Willie, because we may have something on the horizon very, very soon.
Okay. Yeah. And there is also some of the smart guys, they're going on there and sort of have actually tuned the modem off, put the computer with the cable straight under the modem so the other people can't use it. Is there a way that they can see which computer done that, or that's the same problem?
Ooh, okay. Now that's getting a little bit deeper, seeing who connects what to which port and then tracking it. This is some pretty in-depth logging and tracking. This is something we'll have to look at. It seems to me that you not only need some software to get this sorted out, but you need to lock things behind doors, mate.
Well, it's difficult because it's a shared house. There's a lot of people in the house, and I'm not there all the time, so it's very difficult. Because some of them get greedy, they download 24/7, and others very little. They only got a mobile phone, and then you know how it is.
Yeah.
Mind you, if you've got a share house like that, why don't you find? I mean, there's got to be some software that would allow you to do that. Would you reckon, Ben?
This seems to be more like an internet cafe type setup. And there is software that allows it, so they buy vouchers to get access.
See, what I'd do is I'd do this on a basis that you've got control. See, all that happens is, in this case, Willie just needs to have control over it.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So if somebody then decides, well, okay, I'm going to download and stream every movie that I want to watch. I'm going to binge watch all weekend. I'm not going to do anything else. Then at some point it goes, sorry about that, sunshine. You've just used all your allocation. And Willie says, good night, Irene.
Yep. Look,
it would be good if something like that is available.
Yeah. Look, there are ways that it can be controlled. In some cases, it's a bit of a blunt instrument in the way it's handled. So it's things as simple as switching connections on and off. But if people are actually getting their hands on the router and then plugging directly into the modem, that's going to present some problems. So
right.
Yeah, that's a good one you got there for me, Willie.
Thanks very much for that, Willie. We'll have to find out some more about that. There must be a heap of people involved who've got that same sort of issue, I reckon.
Yeah, and this is looking like the sort of solution you'd see, in the hotels.
Yeah. When
you buy Wi-Fi access.
Yeah.
Or there's a certain amount of access included in it. I'm sure we are going down that path.
Yeah.
Where we've got to look at that as a solution.
I think you're probably right.
G'day, Justin Barnaby.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to.
That's where you come in. Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Print image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in.
That dog is way too old.
So, would you care to be my eyes?
This is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
It is indeed. We're having a chat to Ben Aylett from Easy Wireless. By the way, Ben's email, well, our website address.
Website, yeah.
Yeah, benaylett.com. That's where you'll find all of the contact information.
So easy, yeah. You'll find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Google+.
Yeah, it's all, but all of it you get from your website.
Yeah, it's all there.
And they say we don't communicate. Hi, Sathi.
Hi, good evening, Chris. It's not really a question. It's kind of a hypothetical question based on your cynical question earlier, okay?
Okay,
about
asking for a friend.
Be My Eyes app.
Yeah.
You said, what happens if people misuse? Now, my question is, what happens if a volunteer accidentally give a wrong information? Is there a restitution for the volunteer, or is he always going to be in trouble for that?
Okay, this is for the Be My Eyes app that I was talking about?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, yeah. If someone
now
plays
let me rephrase that. And I hear what Sathi's saying here.
Yep.
I suspect this is about information given that turns out to be the wrong information, but it was information that was given in good faith.
That's a good one. Yeah, so if they got it wrong, but they didn't mean to get it wrong.
Yeah, we're not talking about malicious intent here. We're talking about information given in good faith that turns out to be wrong.
Well, look, the sort of questions they're asking is, does this photo have 4 people in it? Or is this T-shirt red? Or is this milk good to drink? And in most cases, it's just a simple, that's the date, that's the colour, that's how many people are in it. And this is really, really basic stuff that I think people would struggle to get wrong, to be honest. So if you get it wrong, you probably shouldn't have a smartphone. You get what I mean, Sathi?
Okay, have a good night, Chris.
Yeah, you too. Thanks very much for that.
Very much
it's
for
a
that,
really
Sathi.
good question, though.
It is, and it's always good to ask these questions, because when you ask these sorts of questions, all these what ifs, you're actually thinking like a hacker.
And you're not being negative.
No.
You're simply considering the problems. One of the first reasons why I said, let's consider this one for a moment.
Exactly, yes.
All right. Norman.
Hi, Ben.
Hello, Norman.
I gave my address a few weeks ago, but you haven't come out to my house to fix my computer. I've also been trying my iTunes account, tried to relog the password. Visually impaired don't have good accessibility.
Geez, you've got a lot of problems if you... Are you saying you can't remember your iTunes password, Norman?
Yes.
Ooh, you've got problems, because even Apple won't help you out there.
Yeah, that's a tough one, mate.
Reset the password.
Yeah, resetting passwords. Oh, especially with iTunes. Oh, to be honest, I don't like iTunes because it is such a mess to deal with sometimes.
Yeah. The one thing they won't do is there are some places that you can't. It's very hard to reset passwords on those sort of things, isn't it? Because if you can't remember the password, they tend to have a default view that There must be a suspicious reason why.
All right. Look, there are recovery procedures that we can go through, and it involves asking things like security questions or past information about things you might have done, which can then help you recover that password or recover the account. So there are mechanisms in place that we can fix our iTunes account. Now, Norman, I'm really sorry. I don't actually remember getting your address or any contact details. What you could do, if you could leave it with Jess.
Yep. We'll get you to leave your contact information. We'll get you to leave your contact information with Jess.
Yeah.
Norman, so we'll get you to leave all your contact information with Jess, and
I'll follow up as soon as possible, mate. I'm really sorry about missing that.
All right. G'day, Mark.
Oh, g'day, guys.
G'day, mate.
So I've got an iPhone 7, and I've got it protected by thumbprint recognition,
right?
Which is very handy. But sometimes when I press it, if I don't quite press it right, it gives me the option of pressing an emergency button, which is presumably what happens if I've been killed in a car accident and I want to get my details or something. What would happen if I pressed that button?
See, this is where guys like you and I differ, Mark. If there was a big red button, I'd probably want to press it to find out what would happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. What would the button do? Well, it's only one way to find out. Actually, there's two ways to find out. So the first way is to actually push it to see what happens. The second is to jump on good old Google and say, let's say the emergency, this is iPhone 7 emergency.
Yep. What's it say?
Well, let's see, just quick
quick Google. We would have pressed it, wouldn't we? We so would have pressed it.
I would have been really, really tempted.
Yeah, me too. What does this do?
iPhone 7 emergency button. iPhone 7, 7 Plus, older iPhones, rapidly press the side button on the right side of the device 5 times to activate emergency SOS. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a beacon.
So it'll send an SOS?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it'll...
If only they had those on the Titanic.
Yeah, so it'll...
I thought it was there so that if I'd been injured in an accident and I happen to have medical information on my phone, which is one of the apps, one of the standard apps on an iPhone.
Yes.
That the ambulance people could access the details. But I guess my question is, if the whole thumbprint password protection can be bypassed by simply pressing an emergency button, then what's the point? Then what's the point of it being there?
Okay. The concept of an emergency button unlocking a phone, that really flies in the face of everything that Apple has done in the past and up till today about securing the information of the person who owns that phone. And this is even more famously demonstrated with the San Bernardino shooting, where the FBI had managed to grab the phones of the terrorists, and they said to Apple, here are the phones. We want you to put in the back door so we can get into the phones, get the data out, and
Apple said no.
Investigation. And Apple said flat out no. They weren't going to do it. Apple will not give an easy way into a phone for law enforcement or bad guys to get in and get someone's information.
Well, their argument was if we do it for law enforcement, bad guys will find the way.
Yeah. So what it's doing, if it displays anything, if you hit the emergency thing, it'll show your medical information. So it'll bring up a restricted screen with I'd imagine with your medical conditions, your next of kin maybe, and it will probably ping the nearest emergency services just to let them know that, hey, something's going on.
Yep, gotcha. Thanks very much for that, Mark. It's a really good question, though.
We are overflowing with good questions tonight.
We are indeed. G'day, Dan.
Yeah, g'day, Chris. Hi, Ben. My wife and I, just for fun, were looking up NBN Co, as you do.
Yes.
And it says, I'm in the Vines, and it says that next year we're getting FTTX footprint. What the hell is that?
Okay, FTTX, that basically means we're going to give you fibre to the something. We haven't decided yet. So it could be fixed wireless, it could be fibre to the curb, it could be fibre to the home, it could be fibre to the node.
Dan, you remember when you sat in high school and your teacher was teaching you, your maths teacher was teaching you all about algebra?
Oh.
And you and your mates were looking at your teacher saying, this stuff is stupid. When are we ever going to need it? This is one of those times when algebra is actually in play. Because here, as in algebra, X is the unknown factor.
Yep.
Now, I should know that being a maths teacher.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah. Hey, so it says like in Ellenbrook is getting HFC.
Yes.
So
Very
they
good.
just don't know what
Very
they're giving
good.
to the Vines yet.
HFC is very good.
Yes. Okay, so your question about HFC?
Yep.
So you'd like to know?
Well, I suppose what I'm saying is they can't tell us what we're getting. What should we be hoping for?
Oh, in a perfect world, you'd be hoping for fibre to the home or fibre to the curb. So FTTH or FTTP, which is fibre to the premises. FTTC,
fibre to the curb.
CURB, is fibre to the curb.
Yeah.
And
even though curb is spelled KERB, but that's
FTTK. And then you've got fibre to the node, that's FTTN. That's kind of like a bit of a second-rate solution.
This is round about the time we turn around and hit our heads against the wall.
Yeah.
So if whatever we get, can we update that ourselves? We can't pay more and get it to the curb or premises, which is the same thing?
Unfortunately, I think you'll be stuck with that. So whatever they roll out is what you'll be getting in that area until until the next major upgrade, which we haven't even considered yet.
Indeed. Hey, listen, we're out of time. Thank you very much for that, Dan.
Okay.
Ben, thank you very much for that too.
Thanks very much for having me in.
By the way, don't forget, benaylett.com is the website.
10 questions, 10 correct answers. The